those vegan guys. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the relaunch of the Skype stories. And what a relaunch! One of the kings of vegan YouTube, a Greek god, some might say. I've said that. Paul Kerton from Hench Herbivore. Hello there, good sir.
Hey, buddy. Nice to see you, my friend. Lovely to connect.
Very, very good to see you. Obviously, I mean, we watch your videos all the time. You are, not just saying this because you're doing a Skype chat with me, you are one of our favourite YouTubers. And you have been, and it's important to note this at the start, Paul, you have been a massive inspiration to us both. Especially on the whole food plant-based front, you know, which we're dipping into, really enjoying, but need to do more of. But not here to talk about me, Mr. Kerton.
Oh.
I'm here to ask you all kinds of questions about your life and your veganism.
All kinds.
So how long have you been vegan now, Paul?
It's 9.5 years. I think it's coming on for 10 now, possibly.
Brilliant.
9.5, I'd say. Yeah.
So what was it for you? What was the turning point? What did it?
So I wouldn't say I went, I mean, at the time I said I went vegan. I didn't really understand the distinction between diet and ethics. And for me, it was a health thing. I just saw that the more animal products we eat, the quicker we're the authors of our own demise, you know. And I was eating more animal products than anyone I've ever met before in my life. And, you know, I looked at the data and I thought, wow, like I'm going to be dead next week if I carry on. This is ridiculous. So yeah, I gave it a try. It was scary at first, being a bodybuilder and thinking I'm going to lose all my gains, but I didn't want to be the cause of my own death. So I thought, is there, you know, some way to incorporate this? And happily, it was nothing but a benefit to my training. In fact,
I was going to say, because I mean, you look big on camera, anyway. Do you know what I mean? You look like a big dude. But me and Jason said when we first met you at Vegan Camp Out last year.
Remember?
You're way bigger than expected. You're just like this big towering, like, whoa, massive dude. But isn't that a great example to health people and to bodybuilders especially? You can build this.
It's a great way of advocacy. You can't argue with what's in front of your face.
No.
My whole idea is, you know, because the biggest thing, isn't it, where do you get your protein? I want to be twice the size and strength of anyone who says, you know, I can't get protein on a vegan diet, and I want to just fire my chest and like flex at them and say, well, you know, are you bigger than me? Like, are your needs more than mine? Because I'm managing, you know. Yeah.
So, just give me one sec. Let me turn the distant light on. There you go. Gives me a bit more.
Oh, you're beautiful.
Shut the daylight out. I can't stand it. It shows too many flaws. So you started it as a health thing, and then you became more aware of kind of the plight of animals.
Yeah, kind of accidentally, really. So, you know, it's a new lifestyle, and I'm researching, looking on different sites for information, for recipes. I think it was Barry Yorovsky's site, and I accidentally saw, you know, what we do to animals. And it wasn't terribly graphic, this first thing I saw. It was a cow. She was being herded down this sort of metal, don't know what to call it. She was sort of being corralled into the slaughterhouse, onto the kill floor.
Yeah.
And she was desperate. She was like trying to turn, you know, they were using the what do you call it, like cattle prod. And I could see the fear, and she was desperate, but she was having to be, it seemed like she knew what was about to happen. And it shocked me to the core, and I felt so, so ashamed, and just that I was complicit in that. And I didn't know better. Like, I thought it's normal, natural, and necessary. I thought, it's humane.
Yeah.
They know what's coming, and they're in fear of their lives. And I had a dream. I saw some of the Earthlings film. That night, it was like I was being shown how it is to be an animal in a slaughterhouse. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I was there, like, sort of in the dark and just knowing what was coming, and I felt dread, not just fear, but like mortal fear. I've never felt that before or since. Like, and despair, just like there's nothing I can do. Like, I'm now going to be brutally murdered, and there's no way out. And I've never felt either of those emotions before or since, and they were the most horrible emotions I've ever felt. And I just wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
You can hear it in your voice when you talk about that, Paul, how powerful that kind of experience was. Do you know what that brings to mind? I don't know if you've ever seen the film Powder.
No.
About he's a very special guy with very special gifts. He's very pale-skinned and bald, but he's got these abilities, and he tries to stop somebody from hunting a deer. And what he does, he has the ability to put his hand on the hunter's arm and his hand on the dying deer and make him feel what the deer's feeling.
Nice.
And it's a really powerful moment in that film. And the character later on, when somebody says, you know, why haven't you been hunting? And he said, I can't do that anymore. Whatever that guy did to me that day made me feel like an animal, cold, alone and afraid, slipping away in the dark, and there was nothing I could do about it. And that brought that scene to mind then. I think thank you for sharing that. I think that's a really kind of
I think it's important, you know, and it's like the stupid thing with like toxic masculinity, you know, don't show your emotions. That's weak. Like, that's insecurity speaking. If you're a big, strong, tough guy, like, why do I care if someone thinks I seem like a bit of wimp? They can have a pop at me if they want to. Like, they're going to come unstuck. And like, do you know what I mean?
That's something else I have to say about you as well. Considering that you are a red-blooded, 100% heterosexual, bodybuilding male with a gorgeous missus, I've never felt any TM, toxic masculinity, from you at all. And I think that's testament in the fact that right now you're speaking to a 51-year-old queer bloke who's married to a guy from Oldham, and you're sharing experiences that fools would mock, intelligence would accredit.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
So I think that. So when did you start on YouTube, Paul?
That was right at the end of 2014. So kind of 5.5 years we've been on there now.
Wow. And what was your kind of aim at the start of has the channel always been called Hench Herbivore?
Yeah, so that was a happy accident. I was in the gym one day. I was having a particularly good training session. I had a real big pump on. I was about twice the size as I was when I stepped in the gym. You know, I had this lovely, huge pump. And someone said, "Oh, you look like a Hench Herbivore." And I thought, whoa, like that rings really.
Yeah.
It's like, so initially I nicked that for my personal training business. And the whole thing with YouTube, I'd never once set out to be a YouTuber. I was the last person to do any good because I had a lot of sort of social anxieties. I didn't like being filmed. Like, I messed up as a lad being recorded for radio, got really embarrassed and sweats. And I just wasn't the sort of person to do it. But I actually started YouTube as a resource for my PT clients because I got so sick of having to repeat, where can you get your protein on a plant-based diet? What do the meals look like? What's this training routine? How do I do this exercise? So really that was it. And just organically, by accident, you know, it kind of grew. And I just saw, you know, I was reaching more and more people, and I thought, wow, I've been responsible for more animal deaths than probably most people in the world. And you know, people were looking up to me for having a bit of a physique, and I thought I kind of owe it to the animals. If people want this information and they're respecting me, you know, I need to step up to the plate, basically. So,
speaking of where you get your protein, that's what you've named your cookbook.
Yeah.
Which I love. by the way. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's still $4.99 at the moment, Paul.
$4.99, half price. How much longer it will be half price for, I cannot say. So people should grab it while it's hot.
No doubt I will have already linked Hench's channel for those of you heathens that don't know of him yet. But I'll put the link to the ebook page on your website down in the description as well.
Lovely, man. I really appreciate it, brother.
Well, I really appreciated your book. Again, not an ass-kiss statement, an honest statement. It's a bloody good book, Paul.
Thank you.
I think you and Gemma have done an excellent job putting that together. And, you know, of the things that we've tried in that book so far, easy, delicious, nutritious, fat-free, whole food, plant-based, if you include tofu, like you always say, and I'm nicking that, I'm having that.
Yeah.
I'm going to include tempeh and tofu both as kind of whole food, plant-based, you know, things. So some random questions, just kind of light-hearted ones, if I don't mind. What did you miss the most?
When I went from omnivorous eating to vegan, not a damn thing.
Did you not? Really? No.
So I was eating 10 kilos of chicken breasts per week. I was drinking 42 pints of milk. You know, cans and cans of tuna, the steak, eggs. I never liked eggs. I never liked tuna, but I thought I had to eat them. And I was just, you know, just eating mountains of that stuff. And I was so pleased when I saw, oh, maybe I don't have to keep eating this. I went 98% whole foods plant-based straight off the bat, but I thought, do we need DHA from salmon? Is there something in grass-fed beef? You know, we've been eating animals historically, so is there something in there? I think about 6 months in, so I was just eating that like a couple of times a week. About 6 months in, I just lost the taste for it. I didn't enjoy it at all. And I just, again, I've been researching. I just went back to the research, and I just saw that any essential nutrient, you know, we either get it from the plants or the plant precursors. We make the nutrients ourselves like the animals do. And that was it. I never looked back and never missed a single thing. And instead of eating these 5 animal products over and over and over, in the first 2 years, I ate 500 different whole plant foods, anything new. I would go into Asian supermarkets, seek them out, and my palate, you know, it's just exponentially. So anyone who says a vegan diet is, you know, you can't eat many different things, well, that was the opposite for me, times 1,000, you know. Yeah. Well, it was 100.
So, do you avoid gluten?
So, I used to eat like a loaf of bread a day, and then 2 years into my veganism, because I went whole foods vegan, and it's not easy to source wheat berries, like the whole wheat, rather than flour products. So I accidentally cut out gluten for 2 years without meaning to. And then one night we were at a pizza restaurant or an Italian restaurant, and I thought, I just want something a little bit different for a one-off. I'm just going to have a little vegan pizza. And I was in the worst pain that night. I was crying with pain, just holding my guts, rocking back and forth, you know, terrible gut problems. I won't go into details. And that lasted almost a week. Well, not as bad, but I couldn't eat like for nearly a week. And then so I had the worst gluten problem going forwards. Fast forward last year, I developed SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which has seen a lot of vegans, particularly the YouTubers, like leave veganism. But I worked with young Mr. Goji Man, and we diagnosed that I had that. We did a simple treatment, which is about a 6-week course of, he prescribed me natural antimicrobials. If you do this with the NHS, they'll probably prescribe you harsh antibiotics, which is horrible for our health because it, you know, harms the gut microbiome so much. And he said this might happen. During SIBO, I'm now able to eat gluten as much as I want, and I'm absolutely fine. So, all credit to Goji Man. If anyone has gut issues,
yeah,
he is genius.
He's another one, isn't he? He's kind of I think there's a few of us British vegan YouTubers that I think stand out as really genuine people.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm going to put myself in that category. because I can be contrived, but not often, Paul. And of course, you and Simon Gorgie.
He genuinely just wants to help. I think he's helped over 2,000 people now. You know, he does the kits at cost price, and you know, so we were hanging out when we all met at the camp out, weren't we? So
yes.
We all, spent like a couple of days with him, like at other times. He is just so generous, and he doesn't want. I tried to really praise him and offer him money for like helping me. He won't have any of it. He's just in it to be nice. He's just got no ego.
I have to say about Gorgie, not only did Simon and Emma come up to Manchester, the Manchester Vegan Festival, and got in touch with me and Jason. We spent the day with them, and it was lovely. That was last year, obviously. Or was it the beginning of this year? No, it can't be the beginning. No, it was like end of last year. But he also, I asked Simon for some help, because he was trying to kind of explain to me about the back engine stuff in YouTube and how getting a hand on that really helps. And then he spent a couple of hours on the phone with me, talking me through everything, telling me what to do, you know. So Gorgie, you're a leg.
He's such a busy man, yet he'll make time for that. Like he's a beautiful soul.
Genuine humans. His
lovely wife Emma as well. She was the design artist who did the outlay for our book, and so we're extremely grateful to her. And she's lovely also. They're lovely.
Oh, I'm as a gay man with a fabulous husband who's out at work at the moment. I'm very aware of the power of the Emma and the Gemma.
Yeah.
Very aware of the power of them both. Wonderful women. I adore them. Speaking of wonderful women, Mr. Herbivore.
Yes.
Just because, well, firstly, I'd like to say that it's been lovely seeing you doing kind of regular lives now, and always with Gemma, because there was a point in the not too distant future, and I'm sure it was Gemma's choosing, that you might see an arm as she sat in the corner of the sofa. But it's lovely to see you both, you know, just as a visible, loving couple.
Thank you.
I think that's a really nice thing. So, when did you meet?
It's a bit of a long story, really. So it would be 16 years ago, Jim?
Yeah.
About 16 years ago, I was a doorman in a nightclub, and Gemma was working on the sort of till there in the cloakroom just opposite where I was. So I was on the front door. Yeah, so that's where our eyes first met.
Gemma, did you fancy him?
Hello. Yeah.
Hello. So straight away there was a mutual attraction there.
Oh hell yeah.
So tell me about your first date. Do you want to join in on this bit, Gemma? I'd love to hear you.
Pull up a chair.
It's
a bit of a funny story, because, like I say, I was a bit of a bad boy, so it does involve certain adult themes and violence. Do you want us to talk about that on that? No,
absolutely. It's real life. Real life.
Yeah. I'll let you tell it, shall I? I've done loads of chatting.
Well, first day. Well, one night in the club, I said to Paul, "It's my birthday next week. What are you going to give me?" Knowing that was like a loaded question. And I won't tell you what he replied.
Home again, so I must have done a good job.
So we spent the night together, and then we sort of went out for a night out, a date, I suppose. What happened?
What didn't happen?
You collected some steroids from someone, and put them in my bag because you didn't have anywhere to put them.
£300 worth of anabolics in a nightclub toilet, and Gemma's like holding them for me, and obviously this is all new to her,
handbag.
So I can't imagine what she must have been thinking.
And then there was we were in a car, and then somebody was, what were they?
They sort of, this guy basically leered in the window at me and sort of pulled a face and was sort of rude. I went to jump out to chin him, but my mate grabbed me. Gemma said, no, don't. So I thought, all right. He did it again, and I was gone. And I hit him so hard I remember seeing his feet at my face level, and he was just like flying back and just smashed into this door of this bookies. Supposedly, it broke his jaw and his cheekbone in one shot. That was outside the club I was working, so the tape had to go missing, and there was a big hoo-ha. Yeah, I didn't take to being disrespected very good. And I was never a tough guy growing up. That was just fear. I basically made myself into a big, strong, scary-looking bloke out of fear. I didn't want people, bullying me. I got a little bit of bullying at school, no more than most, but it was enough that I didn't like it. So I did all these fighting arts and built myself up and turned into a complete bellend. Yeah. So.
And I lived from a place of fear in the world. So I wanted to be with, an alpha male, a tough guy who was respected, who everyone either feared or looked up to or whatever. I wanted to be with someone like that because I didn't feel safe in the world. And in that way, being with someone who could take care of themselves and me, that made me feel safe. So, some people might say like, well, what did you think of that, that world and seeing that, but I can honestly say, like, I didn't think, I should be scared or I shouldn't be in that world or be with Paul. Like, I was attracted to Paul and that life, and just sort of worked, didn't it?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, it's crazy. And obviously, I have a lot of regret now, looking back, and I'm just trying to do better, and put some good back in the world.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Can you just squeeze closer together a little bit? Only because when Skype does the side by side afterwards, it goes through the middle of the box there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll move the computer back a touch. Hang on.
Yes. That's so much better. So, are you all right? Me continuing to ask you about Gemma while Gemma's sitting right there, Mr. Herbivore?
I'm happy.
When did you know that she was the one?
Pretty early on. I wouldn't say it was love at first sight. It was certainly lust at first sight, but very, very quickly. I think it was Gemma's kindness and compassion. She was so different from me, and I thought, wow, that's a beautiful soul, and this is more like how I would like to be.
Yeah. You do make an absolutely beautiful couple. I mean, not only just physically, because you're both gorgeous, god damn you. Or should I actually say, god damn! But you're good people as well. And Gemma, I have to say that you're one of the only other people I know personally that has openly talked about mental health issues and dealing with them and the positive ways of dealing with them. And I love that. So thank you for that.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
It's nice to feel like you're doing something positive in the world, isn't it?
Yeah. I just feel like, I guess like where it comes from, the desire to be so honest is like, I have a past of feeling that my pain wasn't seen and heard and validated and all that stuff. And so, like some people will say, you're brave to say on Instagram that you're having a bad day or that your mental health's not good. And I just sort of feel like, well, actually, no, it makes me feel good to say it.
Absolutely. I've done loads of vlogs about my mental health and about really dark days I've had and how I've dealt with them. And I've had nothing but positive responses from it. I do think people get very scared about talking about. I think people are afraid of being seen to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we all are.
Yeah.
All of us are vulnerable in lots of different ways, and I think the ability to share that story and positive steps and the strength to be able to deal with it in a good way is nothing but good.
Yeah,
sure.
Definitely.
I think there'll be a lot less suicide, particularly among males. Like suicide is the biggest killer, isn't it? Under 40s or something like that. And it's because we keep it all hidden, and people think that they're the only ones suffering and they've got no one to talk to.
Yes.
It's terrible.
yeah, I say this quite a lot, but, you know, we can look out on Instagram and Facebook and see people with these perfect lives because they only take photos and videos when everything's going well or, you know, and they're on holiday or, you know, whatever. And it looks like they have a good life and, we don't. And, I'm the only one suffering. Because when you're in pain convinces you that you're alone in that pain and that it will last forever anyway. So if you look out and everyone else is saying that they're fine, it compounds that. And you think, wow, I'm the only one suffering, something wrong with me. And often we can grow up or whatever with this feeling that there is something wrong with us. So it compounds that. And it's just miserable. Yeah, if you just say, I'm having a real shit time. You'll believe the amount of people that message me and say, you know, thanks for saying that. I'm having a really bad day as well, actually, and you've just made me feel better about it. And that, I like hearing that. That makes me feel really good. Yes, like, great. You get it. You get what I'm going through. I get what you're going through. We're not alone.
Exactly. So what's going to happen with the Hench Herbivore empire moving forward? You're planning to stick to the channel and
well, yeah, just more of the same. We have got an opportunity to do something even grander with the backing of other people. We'd be sort of involved in this new huge project, but I've had to we both signed a non-disclosure agreement, so we can't say a thing about it. But if it comes off, I think it's going to be a huge, just a huge game changer for veganism and making it accessible and practical and more sought after. Like people will want to do it. And I've probably said too much now, so I'm going to shut up.
Right, and I won't push any on that either. You're working on a second book at the moment, which is all desserts.
Yeah.
Which is such a wise move, man. Because so many people are dessert obsessed, and so being able to throw together some whole food plant-based desserts, that taste great.
The trouble is with vegan desserts, often they use, particularly raw ones, they use coconut oil to set, and coconut oil is worse than beef fat in terms of heart health. It's worse than beef fat, so there's something that we, you know, heart disease is still the biggest killer even among vegans, and it's totally preventable, you know.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, like, I have a sweet tooth. I like desserts, and yeah, it's more of a challenge to make them healthful. And this book's taken me like longer than the last one because I'm trying to get it right. And you know, like Paul's saying, like, without say having coconut oil and certain things, it's trickier, and some desserts aren't turning out right. So it's all trial and error. But you know, I've got about half of it done now, and I think it'll be a real nice book to get out there just to show that you can eat desserts, you can still be healthy, and you haven't got to compromise taste. I think that's important for vegans to know, especially whole food vegans. You know, I think
it's I know that you're both whole food plant-based largely, and it's very important for even us because we promote, me and Jason, well, we don't promote, we show people a lot of vegan junk food because we believe that, you know, it's okay to treat yourself now and again, and that they are great transition foods. What do you think about the vegans that really try to guilt new vegans because they're eating alternatives? Or because I have a bit of a problem with that myself. I've noticed it in a lot of the Facebook groups when somebody's new on the journey and they're getting called out, why would you eat that? That's in plastic. I always say, if they're eating vegan, just let them be for now.
Yeah, I completely agree. You're just going to turn people off, and we're tribal, and our tribe, our group, our herd needs to seem attractive. And if people think, oh, if I become vegan, I have to be like rude and aggressive and miserable and like that.
And I'll have to only eat things that don't come in plastic and just only eat things that are grown and don't have any ingredients on the label. It's so hard, you know. We're whole foods vegans, and sometimes it's tough, you know. We go away traveling, it's a bit tougher. Maybe we make some compromises, don't eat quite so good. It's just life, you know. Yeah, like you're saying, if you make it look too hard, and if you can't shame people into making a choice, or, you know, to go vegan or to eat whole food, like, it never works to try and shame someone, you know, into making a change. They have to want to do it and come to it themselves. And yeah, I think like you could say to someone, oh, I happen to know of a great product that's a bit healthier than that, but it's still really tasty. Like, that's a great thing to say. But to say, oh, you shouldn't.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's when people say you shouldn't or you should do this instead of saying maybe you could try this sometime. Yeah. Sometimes it's not the message, it's the way it's delivered.
Or like if somebody's, you know, they've gone vegan and they're still not feeling great, like they've got some kind of issue that they came to veganism with, a disease or a health issue, you know, and they were hoping to feel like better. Maybe that's an opportunity to say, oh, well, if you're not on the whole foods yet, you'd see a great benefit actually from going whole foods rather than eating the mock meats and the things with oil. Like that, you know, that's a great thing to sort of point out. But yeah, everyone's their own journey, aren't they?
How many people eat whole foods in the world? It's a fraction of people. So if there's no vegan junk foods, like it's going to be exponentially harder to get people. Look, we need to be praising people, not vilifying them. And you know, people get there in their own time. It's a journey. None of us are perfect. None of us. Yes. But we can try. We can.
So right, some random questions now, and I'll ask you both if that's okay. What's your favourite place to shop for vegan stuff?
When you say stuff, you mean like food, clothes, or
food mainly? Do you have a favourite supermarket, or is it a local shop? Or
so we get what we can only get at supermarkets, like canned refried beans or wraps, that sort of thing. We'll get those from a supermarket. We don't really have a particular favourite, but we like to get our produce from a local veg box delivery service. So there's no plastics, it's good quality, it's local, and all dried goods. You know, your dried fruit, your legumes, your whole grains, etc., nuts. We get from a sustainable shop, so you come in with your tubs and you weigh out the things and pay on that basis. Again, we get some plastics from the supermarket. Some of it's unavoidable if we want the range of things, but where we can, you know, we're doing the sustainable.
We have a little shop called the Little Shop of Vegans in Norwich, which we love, and they do tempeh and tofu and all that stuff. So we get
good cheeses.
We get things from there, don't we?
Yeah, they're great as well.
Yeah.
Nice one. Again, random question. What's one of your favourite meals?
My very favourite meal, very easy for me to say, is the masala dosa from South India. Comes with sambar, which is a spicy lentil soup. Yeah, and the dosa is like a crepe made of, I think, mung beans and brown rice. Has a potato and lentil, like a dry curry filling. It's meant to be the most popular dish from the area, and I can see why. It's amazing. I had one 2 days ago after the vegan Bath outdoor market.
Oh yeah!
What a lovely town. Have you been to Bath before?
No, it's down south, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so many awesome vegan restaurants. What else was I going to say? And just the history, because it's obviously named after the Roman baths. So we saw the hot springs like coming up out of the ground. And just to think, that's been happening for at least 2,000 years. Like, how long before the Romans came was that happening? How long after we're gone will it be happening? It's just like a force of nature, so powerful, this hot water just gushing out. And of course, then there's the 2,000-odd-year-old baths. So we got to immerse ourselves in some history. It was really, really interesting.
Nice. Gemma, is your favourite meal the same as Paul's, or is it different?
I like Indian food too, all the different spices and flavourings, like just like a chana masala or a tadka dal, or just Indian food in general. Really.
So much of their cuisine is vegan by default, isn't it? You know, and they're just the experts of the different spices.
Well, I'm looking forward to trying some. I'm going to be diving into your book again because yesterday I unboxed our air fryer.
Oh, I saw. Yeah.
And I'm afraid, well, I'm not afraid to say, first test run last night was Linda McCartney Fishless goujons and oven chips. Because I thought, right, well, if we're going to kind of push this and promote it as a healthy thing, people need to know that they can also use it for just stuff like that. And it was amazing.
Yeah, the game
excited about. And I bought some dried chickpeas so I can make falafel.
Nice.
Who am I? I'm making hummus. I'm going to try making falafel. Your fault, Herbivore.
Yeah, so we do kind of we do oil-free falafel in the air fryer. They come out real good. And I'll tell you, one of the better things for an air fryer is because when you bake sweet potato chips in the oven, they always seem a bit wet to me. They're soggy and they don't come out crispy. The air fryer is a game changer, and they come out crispy and awesome. Yeah.
Nice. I should be trying that then. Right. Do either of you have any closing statements? I'm going to ask you to leave with a positive statement for people who are either new to or considering trying veganism. But is there anything on top of that you'd like to say?
Go vegan or there'll be trouble. I'll get that out of the way now.
We're saying about you can't shame or bully people.
I joke.
Yeah, we knew that was a joke. You can bully if it's joking.
What I would really say to like a non-vegan is, if you can live perfectly happily and healthily without harming others, why wouldn't you? And I know we've grown up and we've been indoctrinated to think it's normal, natural and necessary to eat animals. In the last 10 years, I've found out it's really not. It's actually better for us not to eat animals. And I just urge people to do the research and find out for themselves, and then come to the decision if they think it's right.
Brilliant.
I'd say, like, if you've got any kind of ailments, niggly, like things like a bit of pain, like arthritis, or you've got high blood pressure or diabetes, or even mental health issues, you can feel like depressed sometimes or anxious, give veganism a try. What have you got to lose? You can always go back, but I guarantee you're not going to, Veganism helps with so many things. And if you go whole food plant-based, you're not just going to be helping that one thing. It's not selective. It's not like, I'll do that because I've heard that it will help me with type 2 diabetes, Well, it will also help anything else that's going on at the same time. It's the same healthful diet that helps with anything, And if you feel well and you think, I'm okay, I haven't got any issues going on, sometimes you don't know that you don't feel as amazing as you could until you feel amazing.
Yes, that's really important, because, and I have to say this, when me and Jason did a whole food plant-based about 5 days in a row, not too long ago, almost everything, apart from our bagel in the morning, and we felt amazing. But you could genuinely feel it. I genuinely felt it, and that's what's urged me now to get an air fryer. Probably going to get an Instapot.
Nice.
Started buying dried bloody bags of beans and all kinds of things, soaking things overnight. We'll get there eventually. We'll still enjoy, frozen pre-packaged stuff now and again, but that's where we're heading, whole food plant-based, and your book's going to help us.
Fantastic.
In that journey. Speaking of books, it would be remiss of me not to mention my own Down to Earth Vegan. See, it's not really a book, it's a booklet. It's 40 pages of it's like a guide for if you are starting out as a vegan, and it's definitely the junk food route mostly, but you can take a look at it, and that's on our website. I'll link it down there, and it's free, so grab it if you fancy.
And much needed by people when they start out.
Yes.
Well done.
Cheers, dude. Right, closing statements, my loves.
What was I then going to say? All I would really want to say, and I very much feel the same way. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. I think I put too much pressure on myself. You go, then I'll remember.
Okay, closing statement. What is the theme of the closing statement?
Just the last thing you would like to say to people, whether they be vegans, established vegans, or starting out, or whatever, just something you'd like to close this with from Gemma as a person.
Well, I don't know, just that we're all on our own unique journey in life, you know, be kind to yourself, don't forget to have some self-care, and don't be hard on yourself. Yeah, we're all on this journey. No one's perfect, you know, like we said earlier, and just do the best that you can for yourself. And you know, the more that we become more integrated as people, and we work on the stuff that's troubling us, I'm more talking like mentally here, I suppose. The more we work through things and we just become more well, the more energy and ability we have to focus our circle of compassion more like outwards. So I know we always talk about veganism from like ethics, environment and health, but I like to think of it as well in terms of like helping people to grow and to become more well within themselves, because then naturally the end result from that is going to be we're going to care more about others, you know, people and animals. I really think that mental health is so important, because then when you're not feeling well, say like we're depressed, it becomes so that becomes our world. We can't see out of it. We're just stuck in our like pain. So we have less energy available to us to have compassion and to care and to think about others and to consider oneness. Like, oh, if I hurt them, that hurts me. You know, this isn't a short closing statement at all, is it? I've gone off on a rant.
Have to be, Gemma. It's lovely.
I'll do a short one. For a non-vegan, I will say the only regret I ever hear from vegans is that they wish they'd have done it sooner, and I wholeheartedly feel that. And for anyone who is vegan now, probably not eating the best yet, or possibly, you know, you can just feel so much better. You can live happier and healthier and longer. And, you know, some people are vegan for ethics, which I really admire. And of course, we became ethical in the end. But what I will say to people is, it's not just the message. Like you said earlier, it's the way we deliver it.
Yeah.
And it's the messenger. So, you know, if we look happy and healthy and in great shape, we're going to be a better advocate for the animals. So we'll save more animals, and also we get great benefits as well, which we deserve for being good people in the world.
Absolutely.
Yes, I remembered what I was going to say.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you both so much for chatting with me today. I'm going to get this up very soon, probably even today. I just think, like I said at the start, I think you're a really inspiring couple. Always look forward to watching your vlogs. Can't wait to meet you both again in the flesh once this whole bloody schmirus is gone.
That'd be amazing.
But yeah, thank you so much, guys. It's been brilliant chatting to you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And lots of love.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for speaking to us.
See you, brother.